news. From today, Kiwis who need progesterone for menopause symptoms can now access it fully funded. Pharmax removed all funding restrictions from the hormone replacement therapy, which, when combined with estrogen, can help reduce menopausal symptoms. It's a huge step towards a more equitable health system. So for more on this, I'm joined by journalist Nikki Bazant, alongside menopause practitioner Dr. Linda Deer, who joins us from Hamilton. Morena korua. Nikki, I'll start with you. What was your reaction to the news?
Oh, I think it's wonderful news. It's a really, really good step forward for women, and it's going to help a lot of people, this.
Dr. Deer, can you talk to us a little bit about the medication or the therapy? So progesterone, how does it work?
So yeah, progesterone is part of what we give in HRT. So women who want to take HRT, and if they still have a womb, they must take some progesterone if they want to take estrogen. And the best way to give women that progesterone back is to use body-identical or bio-identical progesterone, which is what Utrogestan is, which means it's exactly the same molecular structure as what our ovaries make. So it is imitating nature sort of as closely as we can.
So prior to today, how much would it have cost if you were trying to get that combined with estrogen?
It did vary a little bit between different pharmacies, but on average it was about $30 to $40 a month, which obviously for some women was not affordable. So we would give them the option, and say this is available, but their decision on what they chose was actually based more on financial reasons rather than which would be better for them. So it's really good now that it's fully funded. We already had fully funded bioidentical estrogen, so now we've got fully funded bioidentical progesterone as well, which is great.
Amazing. So it's taken a long time to get to this point where it's fully funded today. I think the first time practitioners put it to Pharmac was perhaps 10 years ago. So how much of a difference do you think it's going to make for the tens of thousands of women who really are in need of this kind of therapy, which really would help them out?
Yeah, I think it's going to make a huge difference. It should never be the case that we make our decisions around the best treatment for us based on the cost, right? And it should not be the case that something that affects 50% of the population, which menopause does, should be, be restricted in terms of what you have to pay to access it. It seems crazy.
Yeah. Has it been difficult, do you think, for many women in terms of access to information and resources when you're going through to even figure out how you can get through it and what you're going through?
Yeah, I think information has been an issue, and that's partly why I wrote my book about menopause, which is called This Changes Everything. It does change everything, menopause. It really makes a huge change in our lives. And I found when I was getting to that age, in prime perimenopause territory, that there wasn't much information that I could really access that was good and credible and made sense to me and helped explain this kind of chaotic time that it can be.
Yeah. And what kind of difference has it made to you in terms of learning all the research that you've been able to do and to write your book?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, I feel now that I've done all the work, quite empowered, because I know kind of why things are happening to me and also what I can do, some of the things I can do to manage those. But also it really makes me feel good to be able to help other women too. I think there's a real interest in this topic. There's so many women that this affects. Obviously it affects every woman, but there's so many women in this age group, and we are all really hungry for information and want to talk about it too. It's an important transition that we go through, and we shouldn't have to be in the shadows about it.
Is there anything that you learned in your research that surprised you?
I mean, I guess there were tons and tons of surprises along the way. I think
no one's really prepared for it.
What's interesting is that so many of us get here and know very little about it. And I was the same too. I got to 49 and kind of went, whoa, I actually know nothing about this, and it's about to happen to me, or it's happening to me now. So I think that was in a way surprising, and what I really hope is that we can get to the point where we all actually know what to expect, and we don't have this situation, because it is just a natural transition. It's part of our life, and it's part of our lives as women that we're going to go through, and we should feel that we know what's coming, and we should feel that we know what to do about it too.
For it. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Dr. Deer, are you seeing women's health being prioritised more when it comes to access and funding?
I think so, yeah. There's lots of positive changes coming. There's still more to do. But I think, as Nikki said, women are getting more knowledgeable, which is a good thing. But yeah, I think over the next few years we'll see more of these positive changes, not just for HRT, but hopefully for other things. I mean, the mini pill Cerazette is one obvious thing. We really have been trying to get that funded for a long time as well, because that's a really good mini pill. So there's lots of things I think that will start coming out, and people do need to be prepared for this. And for people who do want a bit more information, if you go to menodot.co.nz, I've written about Utrogestan and also helping GPs know how to prescribe it, because it is kind of new for doctors as well. So we're sort of all learning together that this is actually what we should be reaching for first if we're going to think about giving a woman HRT.
Menodot.co.nz. And Nikki, where can women find your book, which will help them with a lot of information?
Oh, it's in all the places that you buy books.
All the places that you buy books. Thanks very much for having this conversation. We know it's often a taboo topic to discuss, but it's such a good conversation to have for us this morning and for many of you who are listening. Time for a break now. We will be right back with Wendy and your 6:30 news.